Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about what I wish our endocrinologist would tell us. I don't know if you've had this experience, but I know that I have in the past. I've had times in my life where my diabetes management was very poor, yet I was still going to the doctors every 3 to 4 months for my checkups, but wasn't finding any results. And since then, I've educated myself a lot better and I've learned a lot more. And so I made a list, just a few things, of 4 things that I wish I'd have known sooner. And I wish that my doctor would have told me earlier. So I hope that this helps you. So the first thing is that I wish my doctor would have told me earlier. I wish they would have told me right when I was trained on my insulin pump or when I was doing multiple daily injections that fast acting insulin still takes about 15 minutes to work. So when I was back when I was first diagnosed, then I was taking regular insulin and that took a half an hour to start. And so I would always take my insulin a half an hour before eating. And I had great control doing that. But when I switched over to multiple daily injections, they told me go ahead and take your insulin right when you eat or even right afterward. Well, I didn't have good luck doing that. And since then, I've realized if I take my insulin at least, 10, 15 or minutes early or earlier, if I already have an elevated blood sugar, then I can catch that meal in time. I can catch that blood sugar spike. And so that is a huge key is pre-bolusing, bolusing ahead of time. And I wish they would have let me know sooner. That really would have helped my diabetes control for post-meal sugars. The other thing, second thing that I wish I would have been told is that your blood sugar, you need to eat spaced out enough so that your blood sugar has time to come back down before you eat again. So if you're eating and you eat again when your blood sugar is not yet to a good fasting glucose level, then you're just going to end up with high blood sugars all day. And it seems a little bit common sense, but it's not. You need to make sure that you're spacing out your meals adequately enough so that your blood sugar can come down. And this basically means, if you keep to 3 regular meals a day, you should be good for that. Um, and you can have snacks, but just be really beware of snacking and grazing because that is pretty much a recipe for disaster in long-term diabetes management. The third thing that I wish my doctor would have told me is that you can eat anything, but life is a lot easier if you don't eat as much carbohydrate. So for a while, I kept on the same diet that I was on before I was diagnosed for a long time, and I just had a blood sugar roller coaster. And so I wish I'd have been told, you know what, there's really nothing you can't eat, but the majority of your diet should come from non-starchy vegetables and lean proteins. And if I would have just known that earlier and started limiting my carbohydrate intake a little bit more earlier, I would have had much better control. So that's number 3, is that you really can't eat, if you want to have easier diabetes management, you can't eat everything that you want. It's just not going to work. And then the fourth and last thing is the most important. And I wish my doctor would tell me that I am the diabetes expert. And if I'm not, that I need to become one. So for the longest time, I never touched my insulin rates. I had when I went in, my doctor might adjust my carb ratios and my basal rates a little bit, but I never touched them. I was scared to even mess with them. And there's a good reason for that. If you change your rates too much, then you can get into serious trouble. So please don't go and change your rates significantly. Not advising that at all. But you really need to learn and educate yourself in how to manage your own diabetes. So that includes writing down your blood sugars, really seeing the patterns for yourself. And when you go into the doctor and they adjust your rates, then you should start asking them questions so you can learn. Start asking, how are you adjusting this rate and why? So that you can learn what their thinking is and how they do it themselves. I'll probably do another video on this on how to actually adjust your basal rates and your carb ratios. But you should know how to, and you should be able to do it yourself. I feel like your doctor or your nurse is there to counsel with, but you should be in charge. You should be educating yourself and you should know how to do it because you understand better what's going on than they do. You understand more about your diet and your exercise and your routines. And when life changes, you don't want to always have to call up your diabetes team to make the smallest changes. It's nice if you can just learn how to do it yourself. And also by educating yourself, it empowers you and it makes you want to take care of your diabetes more. If you don't really understand how it works, then you remain powerless and you just don't see good changes. So those are 4 things that I've found to be really helpful and that I wish I would have been told sooner. So I'll just do a recap of those. Number 1 was that fast-acting insulin takes at least 50 minutes to work and that you need to bolus ahead of time if you're eating carbohydrate in meals. Second, and also I should just put a disclaimer there that it will vary a little bit depending on what type of food you're eating and what your blood sugar is. Obviously, if you're low, you don't want to bolus ahead of time. And if you're high, you want to bolus even earlier than that or take insulin even earlier than that before a meal. And other things that you eat with it, like fat and protein, also affect the absorption of that meal. But in general, I'm just giving you the very general basics. In general, about 15 minutes ahead of time. Second, you need to let your blood sugar come back down to normal level before eating again. Third, you can eat anything you want, but life's a lot easier if you eat lower carb and more fruits and vegetables, or more vegetables and lean proteins. And fourth, you should be the master of your own diabetes. All right, I hope that this helps you. Please share this with anyone that you think it would help. Have a great day.